We'll give everybody else like another 3 or 4 minutes to join while we do the introductions, and then we'll get going. So we'll just give everybody 1 minute to join. I see the numbers are still climbing quite a bit, so there's a lot of people still joining. And then we'll get going. Okay, I see it is 1 minute past, so we've given everybody just like an extra minute just to join in, just for the stragglers. And what we'll do is we'll get going with some introductions and things. Welcome, everyone. This is the What's New Business Central 2024 release wave 1 launch, aka the version 24. So let's quickly see what we'll be covering in this webinar. We're going to start off just with introductions while we give the last stragglers a chance to join us, after which we'll have a quick look at what is actually new in the Business Central application. After that, we'll have a look at what is new from a technical perspective, and then we've got some call to actions for you guys, and we'll have some Q&A at the end. Time permitting, we've had to squeeze a lot into 1 hour. So let's get going with the introductions. I'll be doing the first part of the presentation for you guys. My name is Bernie. I'm the PTS here at 𝗕𝗂𝗀𝗀, and I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer. And I'll be taking you guys through the what's new in the application side of things.
Hi, and my name is Jan Veenendaal. I'm also a PTS at 𝗕𝗂𝗀𝗀, and I will do the technical part of this presentation. I'll see you in a bit.
Right. Before we actually get going, let's just quickly tell you guys about the upcoming events. So today, in actual fact, about a half an hour after we finish, Microsoft will start with the Business Central launch event. So if you haven't registered for that yet, https://aka.ms/BCLE for Business Central launch event. Go and register for that, because that is actually the premier event where Microsoft tells us what they have actually done in the applications. We also have the Microsoft Business Applications launch event happening on the 10th of April. This one is a little bit less focused on Business Central. Generally, there's not a lot of information or worth out of that, but if you're interested in that and you'd like to see what Microsoft's biggest strategy across all the business applications are, this is the event to actually attend for that type of information. Now, the Business Central launch event usually has quite a lot of sessions. So I have got a list over here. The list might have changed a little bit, but there are actually 33 sessions over here for you guys to go and attend. 33 sessions where Microsoft tell us, show us, demo, absolutely in-depth, everything that's new with Business Central version 24. We've had to try and squeeze into 1 hour all of this type of content. Now, keep in mind, each and every one of these videos that Microsoft has pre-recorded over here is between like a half an hour to an hour long. So we're looking at between like 15, 20 to 25 hours worth of content over here that we're going to try and squeeze into 1 hour for you guys. We're going to try and do at least a little bit of demos here and there, show you guys what's new. I've tried to cover everything on the application side. Obviously, in like 20-25 minutes, it's not possible to go into depth on anything. I've tried to find the stuff that's most pertinent and most important. I'll try and cover those in as much depth as possible. But have a look at my session, find out what is interesting and what you'd like to know more about, and then go to these sessions over here where you can then go and learn in depth what Microsoft has actually done. So how the Business Central launch event works is at 4:30 this afternoon, Central European time. It will start and there will be a live kickoff event, and the rest of the events you can then just attend by going and watching the actual recordings over there. Okay, so without further ado, we've given everybody a chance to join as well. So let's jump straight in and have a look at what's new in the Business Central application. Before we get to that, I still find quite a lot of partners here and there that actually don't know how the feature management actually works in Business Central Cloud. So there's this page called the feature management page. And on here, you will find all of the features that are not automatically activated. I did cover this in a lot of depth in a webinar. If you go to the recordings, I think it was the What's New in February. I covered this in depth and actually showed you guys how all of this works. So if you want to go and watch that recording, if you're a registered partner, you should have access to those recordings. But come in here. If you're still on, I'm obviously on version 24 already over here because that's what I'm demoing today, but filter on this and actually have a look at what is actually becoming, for every release of Business Central, what is actually becoming mandatory, because not all features are always activated immediately. So I've highlighted a couple of items over here. If you go to the chat, I did actually paste it in there a little bit earlier. Let me paste it in there again, just in case it doesn't show up. Whoops, I went and copied something else. Let me get this over here and then just paste it in the chat for you guys. So what you can do is you can go over there and you can actually download my presentation, because in my presentation, I have a lot of links over here to information. Like, for instance, the modern action bar, that is going to become mandatory. If you have not yet activated that, when version 24 gets installed for you, that will be activated immediately. Legacy list views will actually be hidden, as well as the new intrastat experience will actually be enabled. Now, there are even more features than this that's going to become automatically activated. So these are features that launched with previous versions of Business Central, that when you upgrade to version 24, you don't have a choice to switch these features on or off anymore. They will just become activated. So don't just look at what's new in version 24, also look at features like this that is becoming automatically mandatory for you to actually use. The biggest one over here is actually the new sales pricing experience. It was supposed to become mandatory now. Microsoft had a lot of feedback from partners, so they've pushed it back by 1 more year. So you actually have until April next year to go and activate the new sales pricing experience. If you're not aware of that, make sure that you do get your partner, your customers converted onto that before the launch of, what'll that be, version 26 then. Okay, first things first, jobs is now called projects, and you actually have the choice to integrate that into Dynamics Field Service as well. So let's start having a look at that over here. So for the field service integration, so this is now the Microsoft CRM, one of the CRM products. The old Microsoft CRM products was broken down into a couple of different products. One of those products is called Field Service. And if you go to Field Service, you can now actually, if your customer is using Microsoft Field Service, you can now actually integrate that into Business Central as well. What I have done is all the features that I discuss, I've put a link at the bottom of my slides over here to all the features. So if you want to learn more about any of the features, at the bottom of all my slides, you'll actually get a link where you can go and read more about the specific feature that I'm discussing. So if you want to activate the field service integration, you must activate the Dataverse integration and the CRM sales integration before you can actually activate the field service integration. Just to show you guys, if you wanted to do that, you go to the little gear icon, you go to the assisted setup over there, and in the assisted setup over there, you will have the connect to the Dataverse. Should be easy to spot. Mine is already activated. Connect to the Dataverse, set up the Dataverse connection, then set up a connection to Dynamics 365 Sales, and then set up the connection to Field Service. I'm not sure why it's not showing as activated, because I've actually specifically done that so that I can actually demo this to you guys. Oh, I am in the right database because it is enabled over there. It's going to link to jobs in Business Central. Microsoft was unsure at some stage whether they're going to actually do the integration into jobs or service management. But after a lot of discussions, there was actually some sessions, I think it was last year, or might have even been the year before, at Directions, where Microsoft held sessions where they got feedback from partners, etc. And eventually was decided to actually do the integration into jobs, well, what's now called projects. So they had to reroute some information from what they did with sales, because with the sales integration, the inventory items was integrated into the products and the resources was integrated into the products as well, because in Business Central, we can add resources or items onto sales lines. So they did, when you do the sales integration, they did the integration of the resource table into the product table. But when you activate the field service integration, the resource table has to be rerouted to the bookable resource. So this might be a little bit of a problem if you're already running the sales integration and you're actually using the resources on your sales side. Just watch out for this. This might be a little bit of a thing that you might need to manage. So we've got two databases. You've got Business Central on the left. You've got Field Service on the right. What tables are actually integrated into what? And if you actually go into the Field Service integration setup and you go to the mapping, you'll see, if you go to the integration table mappings over there, you'll see all of the different tables that are actually integrated once you've activated all of them. And you'll see some of them is from the Dataverse integration, some of them is from the CRM sales integration, and all the ones that actually says FS over there is the field service integration. So in field service, there's a table called work order product, and that has an integration into the job journal line in Business Central. You also have the work order service table that has a direction coming into Business Central, into the job journal line. Like I said, you have the bookable resource table in field service that integrates into the resource table in Business Central. And this is a bi-directional integration. So the changes you make will actually be synchronized in both directions. And then you have the project task, which is actually integrated into the job task line table, or sorry, from the job task line, it's going to field service. And then, of course, remember that the job journal line now is now actually called the project journal line. So I put the old name over there just for those of you that might not be used to the new names. And remember that the job task line is now called the project task line in Business Central. I did, even though this wasn't documented in any of the what's new, when I went to activate some of the features in Business Central, as soon as you want to make a request to an external service, there's a new pop-up that comes up in Business Central that says, listen, you're about to make an external request. Do you want to allow this? Allow always, allow once, block always, or block once. And you can then go and choose your option over there. This is just something that I noticed that I thought I'd mention for you guys. Then, if you, there's also some other project improvements. If you actually go into a sales invoice, you go to line functions, and then you say get project planning lines, you can now actually integrate or combine multiple project invoices into one invoice. So if you've got multiple projects running at the same time, you want to send the customer just one invoice for all of the projects, you have the ability to now combine it, just like you can combine shipments for orders onto one invoice. You can also do it the other way around. So if you have one project in Business Central and you want to be able to invoice multiple customers from the one project, in the project setup, there's a new setting where you would need to activate the multiple customers. So in here, if you say one customer, you can only ever invoice one project to one customer. But if you activate multiple customers over there, you activate the ability to do multiple customers on one project. And the only example I could think of was a customer that we had here in South Africa that specifically had this scenario where they were selling fridges. But a lot of the times it actually happens that they sell the fridge to, or we're selling fridges, we sell the fridge to one customer, but one customer has to pay for part of it, and another customer has to pay for another part of it. So company X sponsors the fridge, they pay for the fridge as such, but all the logos and installation costs and everything else has to go to company Y. And these guys do massive installations of fridges and air conditioners, etc. So in an instance like that, where you do have a project where multiple customers will be paying for part of the different parts of the project, you can now actually invoice multiple customers. That means that sell to and bill to and ship to information needs to be included on every single line. So what Microsoft has done is they've created a new project task card created to edit information per line of an actual project. So what you do is when you go into your actual project or your job card, when you go into the project, you will see that there is a new field under the invoicing and shipping. Task billing method, is it one customer or multiple customers? So per job, you then need to specify that for this specific job, I want to be able to invoice multiple customers. And then what happens is when you go to your project planning lines, your project task lines, and you click on the project task line and you click on edit, it will open up a project task card, and on that task card you will get all of your sell to customer information, your build to customer information, and your ship to information over there, where you can alter that then per line, and then when you create the lines under that, everything under that specific line will be billed to and shipped to the address and information that you specify over there, same as what it is on the sales orders, etc. You now also have a default location. So under the project card, you will find a location code and a bin code, and this is just defaults. And you can specify a default location and a bin for the project task line subform. So on the project task line subform, it will default to whatever values you entered over there. And it's just to simplify some data entry. The project tasks, project planning lines, and project journal lines will default to the values that you've actually entered over there whenever you are then using it. There is also the ability to now assemble to project. So if you are using the assembly management within Business Central and you add an item onto a line that actually has assembly related to it, an assembly order is automatically created for you. It's then created, and you can even do explode bomb. So if you actually wanted to include the components in there, I tried to actually get that done. It's in the documentation, but I wasn't actually able to get that done specifically, but they say that the feature is actually there. Now you'll actually see over there that for this one, they say the general availability information on the released documents is not always up to date. For instance, this one, they say the general availability is to be announced, so they don't know when this will exactly be available, but it's actually in the product that was now released on the 2nd of April. So the information that you find over here, this is normally where you go under the 20. I wanted to show this one specifically because this is still under 2023 release wave 2, and it still says to be announced, but yet it's actually already in the product and available for us to actually use. You can also now archive your projects just like you can with sales and purchase documents. So if you go into a sales or a purchase document, you know how you can archive, and you've got multiple versions of that archive, and they've got version numbers, etc. It's going to work exactly the same. There are a couple of limitations, however. There is no statistics on the archived project card. And at the moment, the dimensions are not stored on the archived document and cannot be restored. So if you do actually archive a document and you go back to one of your archived versions and you restore it, all of the default dimensions will be copied back onto that specific project. So just watch out for some of the limitations on that. There are also some user experience changes that Microsoft's brought about for those of you that have been using the mobile and the tablet apps. You now have the ability to access worksheet pages from the mobile phone. So worksheet pages, the types of pages that we use for journals. Previously, you weren't able to access any type of worksheet page from the mobile phones just because they didn't really fit onto the actual screens. It was available on the tablets and desktops for worksheet pages, but worksheet pages was not available on the actual phones. So this only applies to iPhone and Android devices. If you've actually got the mobile app installed on there and you open it up, you are now actually able to access worksheet pages. The rendering means that the information can now fit onto a smaller screen. They've created a new way of rendering these pages. You can actually edit the information as well. You'll see over there like the numbers. If you actually click on the lines over there, it opens up in an edit mode and you can actually edit that information as well. Microsoft's made some improvements to the error messages. So from now on, whenever you get an error message, you have the ability to copy the details, and also you have the ability to then click on a link that it's actually created for you that will take you to the page where you can go and correct this. So in this instance, they filled in a currency over there, but then we get an error message saying that the residual gains account must have a value and it cannot be 0 or empty. And then it immediately gives us a link over there that can take us straight to that card. So I don't have to dismiss the error message and then go to that page. I can just click on that link over there and it will take me there automatically. This link is automatically generated when you use the test field error message, and it looks at the lookup page or the drill down page property on the actual table to find out what page it needs to create that link to. Links will not be generated if the page that the error is pointing to is the page that you're currently on. So if you're actually on the currency card for USD and it needs to go to the currency card, then obviously it won't create the link because it's just referring back to the same page that you're actually on already. It will also check the user's permission. If the user doesn't have permission to view the underlying table or the underlying record, it also will not create that actual link as such. Also, when you get an error message now, you will have the ability in an inline error. So if you're on the line, for instance, and it generates an error message, you can click on this button and immediately copy the error details, share the details in team, or share the details via email. So, because that's normally what happens, the user needs to ask their manager or the IT department or something like that, what's wrong with this? Why am I getting this error message? So they now have the ability to very quickly share that information. And if you get an error dialog, there is a share details button. And when you click on that, you have the same 3 options over there. You now have the ability to actually drag and drop to attach multiple files at the same time. There is quite a bit of information on that for the developers. So if you want to extend that functionality to yours, but it stops the user from having to upload one file at a time, just giving the user the ability to drag and drop multiple files all at once. There are some user interface changes. You will see that the old search and analyze buttons, obviously you will be used to buttons that look like this. They have changed to look like this. And I actually want to go over here and show you guys when you have the Copilot chat activated, that will actually show up at the same place over here. Sorry, not the chat, when you have the Copilot activated to analyze lists, etc. I'll show this to you guys when we actually get to the Copilot stuff, but there's an extra button that they've added over there that's still coming. Smart lists are now called queries. Great Plains used to have this feature called smart lists, and they've implemented something similar to what the smart lists was in Business Central. They called it smart lists, but they've decided to rename that. So in BC23, wherever you used to have smart lists, you will now in BC24 have a menu item that says queries. Let's quickly have a look at the Copilot. So obviously Microsoft's included a whole lot of Copilot stuff over there. And what you'll find is if you go to any field and you hover on the field, you know how the tooltip actually pops up over there. There is now an Ask Copilot incorporated into that. So if I am on a page, for instance, and I look at the customer name over there, I hover on top of the name, there is an Ask Copilot feature over there as well. Just before we started, I actually went and clicked on the name field over there and I said Ask Copilot. So I'll do it again just to show you guys that it's actually working over there. But this is in the US version. I'll talk about what's working, what's not working. But you see, I did a little bit earlier over there and Copilot came back. And you can actually have a chat over here with Copilot as well. And what the Ask Copilot actually does is it just asks the Copilot, explain the field name. And obviously Copilot is aware what page you're actually on. So it brings back some information and links to Microsoft Learn documents where you can go and learn a little bit more about that. In the chat with Copilot, it is released at the moment and it is available. You can actually see it working over here on the right-hand side. A little bit earlier on, I went and had a little bit of a chat over here and I went and said, show me all the latest quotes for customer 10,000. And you can see over there, it came back and it said there are no quotes. And then I said, please give me all the open orders for customer 10,000. Came back, showed me 3. And then it said, you can view more details on the sales order page. And when you click on the link, you'll see it opens the sales order page and already filters to only show me the sales orders for customer number 10,000. Now, what can you do with this chat? You can quickly go and find things in your data or go to your data. You can ask it questions about your data, like show me the quotes and orders for a customer, etc. So instead of navigating to the information, you can just ask Copilot to take you there. And then there is an explain and guide. So you can see over there as well, when you open the Copilot, provide explanations for certain items, or guide you through the actual products. How do I set up a new bank account? It will give you the steps to actually do that. The chat at the moment is only available in English. It is launched in the US first. So what I actually had to do was I actually had to go and create a US version 24 in order to get access to this. It's not available in any of the other regions at the moment. So I specifically created a US sandbox over here just so that I could demo this to you guys. It is available only in the US at the moment. It will be rolling out to other regions at a later stage. There is actually a video on YouTube. I've included a link over there that you can go and watch. It's actually quite a nice demo. And I've included the link over there for you guys so you can go and watch it after this. You can now also create product information faster with Copilot. So when you're creating an item, you're always wasting time because you've got to create variants and units of measure and substitutions and dimensions, etc. So when you create it, you can now create all of that information through Copilot. And what Copilot will do is it'll find similar items and suggest meaningful data for the related tables based on the information that you've done. And it just reduces the time that it actually takes to create new items. And I've included the link over there for you guys if you want to go and find out more about it. You can also create sales lines automatically with Copilot. So if you're creating a sales order, you can go to lines and then say suggest lines with Copilot. And then over there, you can actually say, I've got a bullet list of items over here. Create me an order from that bullet list, or here's an Excel spreadsheet. Read through it, find the items the customer wants and create it in the order over there. Just some ways in which they're trying to make things a little bit easier for you. So you have an email from the customer with a bullet list of items. You just copy and paste the bullet list in here and it'll create the lines for you. Get insights into your fast tab. So in Business Central, we have the analysis mode that you can enter into that was launched a little while ago, and you can add all of these different analysis tabs, etc. Well, what you can do now is you can actually go, oops, I closed it. I wanted to go back over here. You can now go to Copilot over there, and you can actually say to Copilot, analyze list, and then you can go and say, group this by location. Or group this by whatever information you like. And when you ask it information like that, it will create the, the analysis mode screen for you automatically. There are some other Copilots. So there's map e-documents to purchase order line. So when you receive an e-document invoice, and that invoice relates to a specific purchase order, and you need to map the lines to the actual purchase order, you can ask Copilot to help you with that. There is a Power Automate Copilot integration with Business Central, so you can actually create Power automations with Copilot in Business Central. You can also extend Copilot using richer development tools. Jan will take you through that a little bit later on when he's discussing the development stuff. If you want to see which Copilots you have available, you have to go to Copilot within your Business Central. So if you open up Business Central and search for a screen called Copilot and AI capabilities, you would have, oh, I'm in the US version. So if I went to one that's not in the US version, and I went to Copilot and AI capabilities, you would have a warning there or a setting that you would need to activate over here, allow data movement. In other words, allow data to be exported outside of my country, because not all AI capabilities is actually available everywhere. Data movement needs to be allowed for Copilot, because if you have a look at the Copilot service models, you'll see over here, if we go through this, this is the Azure region over here. And if you have a look at, let's have a look at the UK, because this is a UK version that I've got, UK South, you'll see it doesn't have all the Copilots available over there. So sometimes in order to use Copilot for certain of the features that we're using in AI, it would need to send the data to the US region in order to be processed over there, because we don't have those features in our data center. And that is why in Business Central, you would need to activate and allow data movement before your AI will actually be activated. And then in here per line, you can actually go and activate the different Copilots that you've got within Business Central. So if there's one that you don't want to use, you can just deactivate that Copilot over there. The ones at the top over here are production ready preview. So these are not generally available. They are actually in preview. The only one that's actually generally available is the marketing text suggestions at the bottom over there. Just a quick look at some other new features. They have added the edit in Excel feature to all of the warehouse worksheets. So any of these documents on the left-hand side that you see over there, from these documents, you can now go edit in Excel where you couldn't do that before. You can now assign a salesperson to a customer ship-to address. I see I'm running out of time very fast over here. You can now assign a salesperson to a customer ship-to address. So in the customer ship-to address, I assign the salesperson. It becomes a default. So whenever you use that specific ship-to address, it'll default to that salesperson. And if you've left the salesperson blank, it'll default basically just back to the same salesperson in the actual customer card. There is now Excel layouts for 35 selected reports in Business Central. So Microsoft has created Excel layouts for 35 different reports that you can now actually run. Just remember that some of the Excel layouts are or Excel itself is limited to 1 million rows. Here's a list of some other improvements that you can go and investigate. So there are improvements to timesheets. There are Shopify improvements. There are deferral codes can now be used in purchase and sales journal. So deferral code you can use on a general journal, and it will defer certain income or expenses over a certain period. You can now do that on both the purchase and sales journals, where you couldn't do that on purchase and sales journals before. You had to go to a general journal. You can also use currencies when posting employee transactions now, which wasn't activated in the past. When you are exporting and importing configuration packages, you can now export and import multi-line text because there is blob support for configuration packages now as well. With this version of Business Central, we are also making Business Central available in all of these countries. So all of the countries you see on the list over there, Business Central is now available over there as well. Microsoft's done quite a bit of investment in improving the service management module as well. You can now block items or variants from service transactions only. You can correct errors in service invoices. This was actually a major problem in the past. If you had a service contract and you were generating service invoices from those, and you made a mistake on a service invoice and you couldn't post it, you then also couldn't change anything in that sales invoice because it would say you can't change this because it was generated from a service contract. So you couldn't post it because it gives you an error message. You can't change it because that gives you a different error message. And you sort of got stuck in this bit of a problem. And if you then deleted it, you needed to manually recreate it. You couldn't go back to the service contract and recreate it from the service contract. Microsoft's now fixed that. So you have the ability, if you do delete service invoices, to recreate those service invoices from the actual service contracts. There's actually a link back to the service contracts. Just watch out because I did get myself stuck in something else over there. I was reversing invoices, and then I got stuck in a different rut, but I think I was just pushing it a little bit too far. You can define a service invoice posting policy for various users. So in the user management, same thing as what you had in the past, always for sales and purchase invoice policy. You now have a service invoice posting policy where you can say allowed, prohibited, or mandatory, and it works the same as these ones. You can read more over there about what it is that you can do with them over there. You can now manage document attachments for service items and documents. You can prevent editing of number series in purchase documents and cards where you couldn't before. And there's been a couple of other usability improvements for services and projects. You can read more about those at the bottom over there. I want to just take a little bit of extra time talking about this one. There is a new feature in Business Central 24. Microsoft has now activated integration into Microsoft Purview. Now, Microsoft Purview is a different Microsoft product that provides data governance. So what happens is this product can actually link to a whole bunch of different Microsoft products. And what they've done now is they've created integration into Business Central, where any auditable events that occurs within Business Central is then emitted to Microsoft Purview, allowing the administrators to monitor and audit events across Business Central and all the other Microsoft products to actually see where they have data governance issues. You'll see over there, I've included a couple of links over there for you. So there is a link to the Microsoft Business Central article that talks about the integration into Purview. If you want to learn more about Purview, here is the learn.microsoft.com article that talks about what Microsoft Purview actually is. And there's actually a training course available on learn.microsoft.com that you can go and work through if you want to start working with Purview, or if you have any customers that are interested or that want to make use of the Purview integration. You can go there to learn more about Purview. And then, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last item that I have is, just want to show you guys how the page scripting tool actually works like. So if you go to Business Central over there and you go into your little gear icon, there is a new feature over there called page scripting, which is in preview at the moment, which allows you to actually go and record certain things that you do within Business Central. Now I'm going to have to step through this very quickly, because if I hit the record button over there, and I click on certain things, you will see that if I click on customers, it logs over there, navigate to customers, and then it says page customers was shown. And then if I click on that, you'll see that it says invoke row on control 1, and control 1 is actually the repeater control that the lines are actually on. And then it says, okay, this card was shown. Now you can right click on things, and there's things that you can do, like for instance, you can go and validate that a certain value is in there. You can actually copy. So see there, it says copy the value that's in the number field. You can right click on a field and say, validate that the current value is whatever is in the, where you copy stuff, the, damn it, what's it called?
Clipboard?
Say again, Jan?
Clipboard?
Clipboard, yeah. Sorry, I'm rushing through, so my mind's breaking. Okay, or validate that the value is actually a datum corporation, etc. And then on certain validations, you can actually create different branches and say if certain values are true, etc. There is, I actually did not include the link to the page over here, but you can go and learn more. Just search for the page scripting in Business Central, learn more about what it does over there. You can actually then, once you've done a recording, you can stop the recording and actually export the recording by clicking on the save button over there. It actually just creates a regular YAML file for you. So if I just go here and I say, open with Notepad, you'll see this is what the YAML file actually looks like. And I've actually gone and edited 1 or 2 YAML files and created my own little thing in there, had a look at what they did, copied that, pasted it in there, imported the file back in, and it actually works. So if you go and mess around with the YAML file, you could actually do that to do certain things. You can also, once you've done it, just click over here and say open or copy link, and you can mail that link to someone. Now, in this instance, it'll actually, oh no, it won't work because I'm actually in the sandbox. I did find that when you copy the link, let me just go to Notepad over here and just open a new page over there. This is stuck in the back over there. Let's just do this then. If you copy the link, you'll see that it doesn't put your sandbox environment into the URL, but you can actually just go and paste it in there, type it in manually the environment, and then when you recopy the link, it'll actually work. But if you're in your actual production environment, that doesn't matter, and when you copy the link, it actually works. That's the only bug that I've actually found with this so far. But yeah, there we go. So that's the page scripting. And then, of course, you can replay that. You just need to make sure that you were on the same page as what you were before whenever you replay any script that you've done. And when you hit the play button, it just literally redoes what you were doing before. This is not something to replace automated testing, but it is something that you can maybe use for user acceptance testing or to automate certain repetitive tasks, etc. There's a whole lot of things in here that we didn't have time for. I've put them all in the list over there. And there is a couple of features that's not documented that I've put in a list over there as well. There is one change as well that someone else did find that's undocumented. I copied this off of their presentation, the guys from Directions, when they did their what's new, is that on the customer ledger entries, there is actually a change on those pages as well. Okay, let's switch over to Jan for what's new on the technical side.
Okay, thank you. I will start sharing my screen. This one, and then start the presentation. Not from here. But from here. Okay. On the technical side, there's a lot of differences, a lot of changes in the latest version, and they all fall in 6 categories that I will walk through. And the size of the circle does not mean anything. It's just a number of circles here. So the first thing that we have, changes in the Power Platform. Bernie showed you that we can integrate Business Central with the Power Platform. All kinds of integrations are available. And Microsoft also recognized that in time, your requirements for your mappings may change. So what you can now do is you can define new mappings for existing integrations. So if you have a change in an integration, you can change it. In Power Automate, when you try to find records from Business Central, in the past you always got a set of records, even if it was only one. So you got a set of one record. And now there is a new action where you can say, okay, I specifically know that I will find one record, and then you will get a one record action, and you do not have to create a loop in Power Automate to use that record. For approvals, the approval flow now can use Business Central approvers instead of that you have to create new Power Platform approvers to use your flow. And there's also more templates available in Power Platform to create to use in your approval flows. Then there is a difference. There's 2 ways to connect Business Central to Dataverse. The first one is to create a virtual table. And the second one is that you can create a synchronization. So when you have a synchronization, the records will actually be written into Dataverse from Business Central. If you use virtual tables, you just say to Dataverse, okay, this is the table in Business Central where you have to look. And now you can create a relationship between these 2 types of records, where you can define that a synced record matches to a virtual table. For example, customers to shipments to that customer or from that customer. You can define that by defining 1 to 3 key fields. So there's a screen there where you first have to enter the number of fields that you want to link, and then you define which fields form the link. Application, jobs renamed to projects. Bernie already mentioned that. It's a change that's only in the user interface and the documentation. Technically, the table names in Business Central are not changed yet, because that would require a lot of obsolescence and changes in the application. So it's just a user interface change. I mention it here because, of course, if you have some extension based on these tables, please remember to update your captions to projects so that your product integrates with the standard BC product. The legacy bar, the legacy action bar, it is now by default activated that you use the modern action bar, but in your own settings as a user, you can still activate your legacy action bar if you still need to use that one. A lot of changes have been made in the product to include Copilot and AI, and that's also available for you as a developer. So there's a prompt dialog which was included in it was introduced in the last version of Business Central. And now that prompt dialog has been extended, you can now create multi-line text fields to to use for prompts. You can create prompt guides to act as a prompt template to help users understand what they can do in a certain place. And you can create Copilot actions on lists and list parts and worksheets. So you can add your actions to these pages so that users can see that they can actually use Copilot on your pages and launch your prompts. And then there's also an option from the code to start calling AI functions. And also it calculates in a better way, more accurate, the number of tokens that you use when you use the AI GPT models. So you got more control there. Access worksheets from pages from mobile phones. Bernie already mentioned that. That was basically already introduced in the previous version, but now it's extended to a lot of pages that were missed in the last release. Also, Bernie showed the changes in error messages, and that means that all the field names that were in error messages are now moved to the details. So if a user clicks on the error message to show details, they will still see the field names, but they have been moved from the normal error text. Test field automatically adds a link to the page where the user can fix the issue. Bernie already showed that. And they can share error messages. The most important thing is here that error messages have changed. So if you have automated testing in place, your automated tests that use test fields that check for specific error messages, your test may fail because this has been changed in the application. So your code will still run, but since the error message has changed, you need to update your tests. Auditable events to Microsoft Purview. I mentioned that here because as a developer, if you write some code that changes master data in Microsoft in Business Central, be aware that that may be logged to Microsoft Purview. Of course, it should be logged. But so if you write code that changes data, please check if it follows all the rules. All the data that is in a database in Business Central is encrypted by default. You cannot even unencrypt it in the cloud version. But so far, it was always encrypted with a Microsoft key. And that means that you did not control your key that it was encrypted with, and you could not do something like rotation of keys. What you will be able to do within this release, probably from May, is that you can link Business Central to a Power Platform environment. And in Power Platform, you can define your own encryption keys. And if you have done that, that encryption key will also be used for your Business Central database encryption. So then you have control over how your data is encrypted in the Microsoft Cloud. And it also makes sure that not even a Microsoft employee who happens to get access to your database, which is something that they will not do, but for support reasons, they may need to do that. You need to allow that basically now. They also need to use your encryption for that. In your user list, in the user page, there's now more options to filter users with additional user details, like the type of license that a user has. So you can check your users with licenses and see if everything matches up, and if the number of licenses that you are using is indeed the number of licenses that you have purchased. Maybe you have less users. That is more visible now. Also, you can control partner access per environment. Most customers have only one Business Central partner, but it happens more and more that a single customer has multiple Business Central partners that they work with, for example, for different countries. And now you can define per environment which partner can access that environment. So you can make sure that a partner does not accidentally go into the wrong environment and that they have no access to. Finally, the country of origin that is used in the intrastat reporting, that was used on the value on the item card, that is now changed, and you can base it is based on the item tracking code. So that's something that you need to be aware of if you have a product that uses this. Let's check the time. Okay. For development, the system application can now be debugged. That was not able in the previous versions, but from now on you can still do that. Because the system application uses a lot of secrets, it now uses the new data type secret text that was introduced in the previous release. But that also means that you can now debug this one. You can now create extensions to objects that are in your own app. I will show that in a while, which makes sure that you can group things that belong to one functional area in together, and you do not need to have everything from all your extensions in one object. What's also being created is that when you build your app and you have a dependency on a third-party app that is on app source, you had issues when you try to test that in a pipeline or in an on-premise environment. So what you can now do is you can download the symbols from app source apps to a container or to an on-premises environment, so that you can still build your app even though you do not actually have access to that app, but you do have access to the symbols. And also in GitHub, there will be GitHub actions added to 𝗥𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗪 that allows you to create a test environment which has pre-installed third-party apps. Barcode scanning has changed. It's now available in all the warehouse processes. They missed some in the last version. And how it is done is changed. It now uses a control add-in, which is a special type of control add-in because it doesn't have a user interface, but it allows you to control your barcode scanning from AL code. Page test scripting, Berny showed that. Then there's a small change in the OData field. Previously, if you had a query using OData where you had you wanted to select lines from 3 customers, for example, you had to specifically mention each customer in a separate query and do an AND operator. And now you can just provide a list of customers and say, okay, if the value is in this list, then please give me the data. Microsoft is already a while updating the way number sequences are created, and you can now restart a number sequence. In the previous versions, you had to delete your number sequence and create a new one. You can now just restart it from a certain number. And you can also use range start, which allows you as a developer to say, okay, I know that I need, let's say 10 numbers because I know that I will be posting 10 lines, something like that. So you can reserve 10 numbers in one query so you do not have to go to the SQL Server 10 times. You just do it once, and so that's a performance improvement. And also the next and current exists functions in the number sequence data type are quicker than in the previous version. Bernie already showed you that you can now upload multiple files. That is for developers available because you need to set a runtime to version 14. I will show that in a while. A runtime version 14 means that it is available from the next major release, so not in this major release. I will show that in my demo. Let's see, I've got 5 minutes for the demo, so let's do it quick. What I created is I have a file here, and this is it is an app for the current version, so release 24. And it has a file upload page, and I have created an extension to my own page. So I have a file page that just has one field, and I have an extension to my own page that adds a button, an action button to that page. It will give me an error now because this app is built for version 23, so for the previous version where this was not possible. But if I update the runtime version to version 13, which is basically for application version 24, and save this, then you will see that now the AL compiler will accept this. And when I publish this app, it will open my current version of Business Central. It should be in this browser in a moment. Yep, there it is. And I can go to my file upload page. And here I can now have an action on my page where I can upload a file. I can just upload one file, no, not more. Okay, what I can do now, I can copy this entire app to a different folder that I prepared to connect to the next major version of Business Central, and that one's here. And I also prepared, wrong folder, this one, I prepared an extra page extension, so I have 2 page extensions to the same page. I can copy that, and of course I need to paste it here. And this one allows me to upload multiple files in one go. Again, it will not accept it because my app.json is referring to version 13, which is not enough. So I need to update this to version 14, which is, as I said, the next major release. Now I can do this. And when I publish this app, it will publish it to my Business Central 25 version. So the next major version release. There it is. And again, let's go to my file demo. I've got an extra button here where I can upload multiple files. When I click that, I get this upload option, and I can do different things here. For example, I have added these 2 files, and now if I drop them here, you can see that I now can control the type of file that I accept. So I can accept, in this case, only text and CSV and AL files. So let's try again. And upload. So it's already filtered to my file. I will upload all 4 of these. Let's do that not by browsing, but by drag and drop them, and now I can read all 4 files in one checkbox, in one upload box. There's a new data type or a new action type here. It's called a file upload action that you can start using. And there's a file upload data type where I can that I can use to create code for. Okay, time's up. It was really quick, sorry. Bernie, I think it's up to you for the last words.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to just rush through this. If you guys have any questions, throw it into the question and answer session so long. Just a quick call to action. We just want to let you guys know that 𝗕𝘂𝗀𝗀𝗀 has now been recognized as a Microsoft AIM Modernization Center. And what we cover is guidance and testing, upgrade assessments, migration tooling and support. And we actually have the ability to get you guys some money from Microsoft. Now, you're going to have to contact your PSM in terms of guidance on how to do this and what to do and how to get access to these funds. But AIM stands for Activate, Innovate and Move. And how we help you during these processes is to activate new partners. We can do upgrade assessments for you. We can help you innovate to do clean start migrations. We can help you move customers to cloud, licensing support and everything else that we do. And also at the end, even help you to maintain your actual extension. So if you've got customers and you want to upgrade them from on-prem to the latest version of Business Central, contact your PSM, get in touch with them and ask them about the AIM assessments and how it works. We actually can do, through the Upgrade Analyzer, we can do a free assessment for you guys. It's available 24/7. It's on partner. kompaniel.com. You basically take your customer's FOB file, upload it over there, and this document that we give you back for free is a full upgrade assessment that actually analyzes all the technical upgrade questions and everything else. And that document is also part of the documents that you give to Microsoft to prove to them that you've helped this customer migrate to cloud, and you might even qualify for some funding there for Microsoft. Now, I'm technical, so I don't know how all the sales and the money stuff works. So that's why I say get a hold of your PSM and they will actually assist you with that. With the Upgrade Analyzer, all you need to do is you give us the FOB file with the changes. And within 5 days, you upload it to the Upgrade Analyzer. We actually give you a free report back. Now, you could just take that report and go and do the upgrade yourself and migrate the customer to cloud. You will still qualify for an AIM assessment, but we will also give you 5 options that you can actually go and configure. The first 2 options over here is actually to upgrade to Business Central on-prem, and the last 3 options over here is to migrate to Business Central online. And we can give you an estimate of what it will cost you if we assist you with actually taking that customer to cloud. This is a fixed price, so there's no time and materials or anything like that on it. And it actually even comes with a warranty afterwards. You then just go and configure the options that you would like, etc. But I'm not going to waste too much time on that. Let's jump straight into Q&A. Contact your PSM, ask them about the AIM program and how you can actually qualify for funding, etc. Let's just jump quickly, see if there's any Q&As. I do want to give you guys another link in the chat over here. Remember, we have a monthly update webinar as well. Join us for the monthly update webinar every single month. You can register for that on the Kompaniel page. If you want to give us any feedback on what you would like to see on these What's New or the monthly update webinars, there's a link over there that you can go to give us some feedback on what you would like to see on that monthly update webinar. Every single month, we tell you what's new with Microsoft, and we give you a little bit of training on some things. 2 months ago, we did how the whole upgrade process works with cloud, all of the feature management and all of the maintenance and admin and everything that you need to know about upgrading cloud solutions. Last month, we did a Copilot training, so we're not quite sure what we're doing in April, but we will let you guys know as soon as we actually have that. Any questions? I see there was one question from Simona. I've already answered that one. Any other questions? There's no more questions. Thank you guys for joining, and feel free to pop questions into the chat afterwards even, or you can contact me directly. Thanks for joining us, and I hope that it was some useful information for you guys.